Magandang araw mga bata. It's me again, Mr. Sagania Magudong, and I will be your facilitator today. Again, welcome to our cookery class. Today, I will discuss to you Lesson 3, Measuring Ingredients Correctly. Okay class, before tayo mag-start, can I ask something first? What is the importance of measuring ingredients correctly? Anyone? Okay. It is important to measure ingredients accurately and correctly because of the following reason. Number one, once na tama ang pagme-measure natin ng mga ingredients na gagamitin natin sa pagluluto, it will help us to achieve correct consistency. And number two, you will also achieve right taste and appearance of finished product. How to measure liquid ingredients? To measure, use graduated measuring cups and place it on the flat level surface. Have the measuring eye level to be sure for the exact measurement. Okay, ano-ano ba yung mga liquid ingredients na usually ginagamit natin sa pagluluto? Of course, gumagamit tayo ng water, gumagamit tayo ng mantika, and sometimes gumagamit din tayo ng milk. So, when it comes to measuring liquid ingredients, again, always use a graduated measuring cup, tulad na nakikita nyo sa picture, in measuring liquids. Take note, for an accurate reading, always position the cup on a level surface, like for example, sa table, and read with eye level. Okay? Next, how to measure dry ingredients. Gently spoon the ingredients into cup, filling to the overflowing, then level off with metal spatula or the edge of the knife. Ngayon, ano-ano nga ba uli ang mga examples ng mga dry ingredients na pwede nating magamit uli sa kitchen or sa pagluluto? Meron tayong tinatawag na mga flour, milk powder, sugar. So those are the example of dry ingredients. When it comes to measuring dry ingredients, take note of this. Again, in measuring dry ingredients, spoon the ingredients lightly in the measuring cup, tulad na nakikita nyo ulit sa pictures. Then take the straight edge of a steel spatula and level up the ingredients. So leveling it up gives you one level of 1 cup. What if the recipe requires for a heaping cup? When you say heaping cup, hindi nyo na kailangan na i-level up yung cup. Hindi na kayo maggagamit pa ng mga metal spatula or knife para to level up. So, hayaan nyo lang siya na magkaroon ng konting mounded top of the ingredients. Next, how to measure fat ingredients, particularly the solid fats. Ano-ano ba yung mga example ng solid fats na usually ginagamit natin sa pagluluto? Meron tayong margarine, meron tayong butter, meron tayong lard, at meron din tayong tinatawag na shortening. So those are the example of fat solid na usually ginagamit natin sa kusina. And to measure fat solid, fill fat on the measuring cup, press it firmly into the measuring cup until it is full, level with the straight edge of spatula or knife. Meaning to say, when you measure fat solid Tulad ng mga nabanggit ko kanina na margarine, butter, large, and shortening, you need to spoon the ingredients into cup, tulad na nakikita niyo sa picture. And then, ang gagawin, you have to press it or pack down firmly with the spoon or rubber spatula to cast off any air holes. So, ang ibig sabihin po nun ay ipipress natin siya using yung kung ano man yung ginamit natin na pang scoop ng mga margarine, butter, lard, or shortening para at least masituate natin na talagang nalagyan fully yung mismong measuring cup. Kasi minsan di natin mapapansin na meron palang uwang or may space pa pala dun sa loob. Akala nyo puno na, pero may space pa pala doon sa pinaka-bottom ng measuring cup. Kasi hindi nga natin siya na-press. Measurement, abbreviations, and conversions. Okay, mga bata, napaka-importante din na malaman at maintindihan natin yung mga measurements, abbreviations, and conversions. Dahil there are some cooking recipe, yung mga measurement na nakalagay sa recipe book ay nakaspell out talaga yung kung ano yung words ng measurement. Like for example, buong salitang nakasulat yung cups, yung tablespoon, yung teaspoon, at kung ano-ano pang mga measurement. But there are still a lot of cookbooks na ang ginagamit nila ay mga abbreviations. Ano nga ba yung abbreviations? Yung abbreviations po ay ito yung pinaliit na salita galing sa isang salita. Tulad for examples, yung salitang cup. May mga recipe na instead na isusulat or nakasulat ay cup, minsan small letter C. Okay? So, oftentimes, different recipe books also use different abbreviations na kung saan nakakapagbigay ng cause of confusion sa atin or sa iilan sa atin na nagiging dahilan minsan na nahihirapan sila to come up dun sa gagawin nila activity sa pagluluto kasi hindi nga sila familiar or particular sa mga abbreviations na nakasulat sa isang recipe. For example, tablespoon and teaspoon abbreviation may look very similar. And again, it can be mistaken for one another if you are not familiar with those abbreviations. Kasi nga, sa tablespoon, may time na ang ilan sa mga recipe, sinusulat nila instead na buong salitang tablespoon, nakasulat ay, it could be dalawa. Pwedeng letter T na capital or capital letter T or TBSP. Pero kapag letter T nga, let's say capital letter T, nakakahilito siya kapag hindi ka familiar kasi yung teaspoon, minsan, instead of buong salitang teaspoon yung nakasulat sa recipe, sinusulat nila na small letter ng letter T. Okay? So mamaya malalaman ninyo yung iba pang mga abbreviations ng bawat measurement. Again, having knowledge between the different cooking abbreviations and proper equivalence of unit measure can help you to make sure your dish comes out exactly as planned. So in this lesson, you can find some abbreviations for measurements, as well as activities on conversions of various measurements. So, be ready kasi meron tayong mga activity na merong hinihinging computations when it comes to converting yung bawat measurements. So, let's start. Okay, as you can see from this table, these are the list of abbreviations as well as the measurement with its equivalent. Ito yung mga binabanggit ko kanina sa inyo. On this side, sa right side, yung abbreviation and kitchen term. So, let's say for example, yung tablespoon daw, ang abbreviation niya could be a big letter of T or TBSP. Kapag grams, small letter na G. Kapag pounds, small letter ng L at B. Kapag pint, small letter ng P at T. Kapag teaspoon, pwedeng small letter ng T or TSP. Kapag cups, small letter ng C. Kapag ounces, small letter ng O and Z. Kapag kilos or kilo, pwedeng small letter ng K or capital letter ng K. Kapag quart, small letter ng Q and T. Kapag degrees Fahrenheit, kung mapapansin ninyo, big capital letter ng F with degree. And then kapag degrees Celsius, big capital ng letter C with degrees. Okay? Kapag pieces or piece, kapag piece, small letter ng P at saka C, pero kapag pieces na pinag-uusapan, with S na siya sa dulo, kaya magiging small letter ng P, C, at S. Naintindihan po ba? So, regarding naman dito sa standard weight and measures, as you can see, the measure and kung ano yung equivalent niya. Sa 1 kilo daw, ang equivalent niya sa pounds is 2.2. Ang 1,000 grams, ang equivalent niya sa kilo ay 1 kilo. Same with 500 grams, that is equivalent to half kilo. 250 grams is 1/4 kilo. When it comes to 1 pound, ang 1 pound is equivalent to 16 ounces. Ang 4 picks ay equivalent niya ay 1 bushel. Ang 8 quart is equivalent to 1 peck. And then 4 quart is equivalent to 1 gallon. 2 pint is equivalent to 1 quart. And then 2 cups is equivalent to 1 pint. So, again, sa isang cup daw, kapag in-convert siya sa tablespoon, meron siyang 16 tablespoon. Kapag 1/3 cup naman, ang hinihingi sa recipe, meron tayong 5 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon ang equivalent niya. Sa 1/4 cup, ang equivalent niya sa tablespoon ay 4 na kutsara. Kapag 2 tablespoon, that is 1 ounce. Kapag 3 teaspoon, ang equivalent niya ay 1 kutsara. Kapag 1/3 tablespoon that is 1 teaspoon. And then kapag ang hinihingi sa recipe is about less than 1/4 teaspoon, so dash and pinch lang siya. Okay? Para nagkurot ka lang ng, let's say for example, could be salt or paminta. Okay? So again, itong table na to ay kailangan po ninyong i-memorize at maging familiar with those measurements and equivalent, kasama na rin yung abbreviations, dahil makakatulong ito sa inyo when it comes na kapag may mga activity kayo na gagawin or lulutuin. And at the same time, sabi ko nga kanina, may mga activities kayo na may encounter on this lesson regarding with the conversions of different measurement equivalents. Okay? So, yun po yung mangyayari or gagawin natin. So, expect again with yung mga pagsusulit na may mga computations. Okay? So, again, i-remind ko po kayo na you have to memorize this. Etong makikita nyo, yan na po yung standard abbreviations as well as the measurement equivalent ng bawat weigh and measures. Okay? So, let's proceed. Converting larger units to smaller units. So, ito na yung sinasabi ko mga computations. So, when it comes to converting larger units to smaller unit, you have to multiply the number of larger units by the conversion factor for the smaller units. So, like for example, sa 1 pint daw, ang equivalent niya ay 2 cups. Ang 1 quart, ang equivalent niya naman ay 4 cups. Ang 1 quart is equivalent to 2 pints. And 1 gallon, ang equivalent niya ay 4 quarts. Again, etong nakikita nyo na yan yung mismong equivalent ng mga larger units papunta sa smaller units. Okay? Yung pint, that is larger unit. Yung quart, that is also larger unit. Yung gallon, that is also a larger unit. And while yung mga cups, pints, quarts, then, na equivalent dun sa those are smaller units. I have here an example para mas lalo nyo maintindihan kung paano mag-convert ng larger units to smaller units. So let's say we have 2 gallons. Ilan daw ng quarts sa 2 gallon? Yun yung problem natin. So dapat malaman natin kung ilan ba yung quarts, ilan yung equivalent ng 2 gallons sa quarts. Kung titignan nyo ulit dito, gallon, ang 1 gallon daw ay mayroong 4 na quarts. Okay? So, balik tayo sa ating principles when it comes to converting larger unit to smaller units. Since ang equivalent nga ulit ng 1 gallon is equivalent to 4 quarts at given ang 2 gallons, so we have to multiply yung larger units, which is the 2 gallons, into the conversion factor na kung saan ang conversion factor ng 1 gallon is 4 quarts. Very good. So that will be the 2 times 4. So the answer is, yes, very good. 8 quarts. So, sa 2 gallons daw, merong 8 quarts. Okay? Naintindihan po ba? Next, another example ng converting larger units to smaller units. Converting pint to cup. So, how many cups in 5 pints? Since again, ang equivalent ng 1 pint is equals to 2 cups. Ang given ay meron tayong 5 pints. Okay? So again, ang problem natin dito, ilang cups ang meron daw sa 5 pints. Okay? The principle is when it comes to converting larger units to smaller units, again, we have to multiply the larger number units by the conversion factors of the smaller units. So, kung papansinin nyo ulit, ang 1 pint daw is equivalent to 2 cups. So, again, we have to multiply 5 times 2. So that is 10. So the answer is 10 cups. Okay? Madali lang naman po yung conversions or converting ng larger unit to smaller unit. Basta tandaan nyo lang po mga bata na kapag larger unit to smaller unit, multiplication ang gagawin nyo. Okay? So you have to multiply yung larger units doon sa conversion factor or equivalent ng smaller units na pinakita ko sa inyo kanina. Okay? Naintindihan po ba? Very good. Okay, next proceed to for our last topic for lesson 3, food costing. So, napaka-importante din na malaman natin kung paano kunin yung costing or yung tinatawag natin na food costing. Especially kung right after nyo makagraduate sa senior high school at you decided to put up your own business, like for example, gusto nyo magkaroon ng sarili nyong karinderya or kahit yung mga online selling na mga niluluto ninyo. So, kukunin nyo pa rin yung kung magkano nyo ibebenta yung mga pagkain na lulutuin nyo at ibebenta. Okay? So, sa ating discussion, ipapakita ko sa inyo yung simple na computations when it comes to food costing. So, food costing. Kung mapapansin ninyo sa table na ito, meron tayong 6 na column. Diba? So, we have the ingredients, quantity, unit of measurements, market price, price per unit, and total cost. So, bawat isa, i-discuss ko sa inyo kung ano-ano yung mga column na yan. So, number 1, ingredients. So, ito yung mga ingredients na nakalagay or naka-indicated doon sa recipe na lulutuin nyo. Like, for example, in this table, ang recipe na gagawin natin ay chicken pork adobo. Okay? Kung mapapansin nyo, naka-line up lahat ng ingredients nakasulat dyan sa column na yan. Okay? Naintindihan po ba? Second column is the quantity. Pag sinabing quantity, these are the number or amount of the ingredients base uli doon sa hinihingi sa recipe. So, when it comes to quantity, take note of this, mga bata. It must be in grams or milliliters or kung ano man yung hinihinging measurement. So, yun yung sa pangatlo, yung unit of measurements. Okay? So, pwede naman na ilalagay nyo yung, from this column, yung unit of measurement, pwedeng isulat nyo ng buo, yung words ng measurement or unit of measurement, or you can also use the abbreviations. Diba? As you can see from the table, nakasulat dyan, meron nakalagay na yung buong grams, pieces, at meron din nakasulat din naman na gumamit ng abbreviations. Okay? Fourth column ay yung market price. So when you say market price, it is the price when sold in a given market. So, ibig sabihin nun, yun yung presyo na nabili nyo, let's say, kung saan ba kayo bumili, kung sa palengke ba, o kaya sa groceries. Diba? So, included na yung presyo doon, yung mismong weight per pack, or kung nakabox man yun, yung mismong ingredients. Naintindihan po ba? Back to the third column, yung unit of measurement, additional lang. Pag sinabing unit of measurement, these are the standard measurement or quantity nung ingredients. Yun nga yung per grams, per kilo, for milliliters, liters, pieces. So, yun po yung unit of measurements. Naintindihan? Okay. Sa panglimang column naman, we have the price per unit. So when you say price per unit, it is the cost per unit of a product. Ibig sabihin nun, kung magtitinda ka, kukunin mo dapat yung price nung base lang doon sa hinihinging recipe na lulutuin nyo. So, yung formula when it comes to getting the price per unit is price divided by the weight of the original package. So that is the price per unit. Okay? So paano po yun? Baka medyo may naguguluhan po sa inyo. So ang gagawin natin, yung market price, i-divide natin doon sa ilan yung laman or the weight of the original package. Okay? Like for example, tingnan nyo yung column number 4. So, yung first ingredients, we have chicken breast. So, sa market, ang 1 kilo daw ng chicken breast ay 120 pesos. Example lang po ito ha. So, in order to get the price per unit, so yung 120 pesos divided by kung ilan yung conversion unit ng kilo. When you say kilo kasi, that is about 1,000 grams. Diba? So, magyayari, yung 120 divided by 1,000 grams, ang sagot ay 0.12. So, that is the price per unit. Naintindihan po ba? Another example, doon sa pork liempo. So, para makuha natin yung price per unit, again, ang kilo, that is equivalent to 1,000 grams. Kasi we're talking about grams. Kasi kung mapapansin ninyo sa second column, grams yung hinahanap, di ba? So, yung kilo, yung 1 kilo is equivalent to 1,000 grams. So, mangyayari, again, para makuha yung price per unit, 110 divided by 1,000, the answer is 0.11. So, that is the price per unit. Sige, what about garlic? So, sa market daw, 2 piso yung cost ng 1 perasong garlic. Okay? Naintindihan po ba? So, meaning to say, ang 1 peraso ay 2 pesos. Kaya ang ilalagay ninyo na price per unit ay 2 pesos. Same with the bay leaf. Sa market daw, ang 1 peraso ng bay leaf or dahon ng laurel ay piso. So, with that, the price per unit ay piso. Okay? What about the soy sauce? Yung mga nabibili natin na toyo. So 250 ml daw, ang presyo niya sa market ay 15 pesos. So, pero kukunin natin yung price per unit. So, with that, the amount or the market price divided by, which is 15 pesos, divided by 250 in order to come up with the price per unit, which is 0.06. Okay? So, that is the price per unit. Next, vinegar. Sa 250 ml, binili niya sa market ay 10 piso. So, yung isang bote yon 250 ml. Or kung meron din naka-pouch, di ba? So, 10 piso daw yung suka. Ngayon, aalamin natin yung price per unit niya. So, to get the price per unit, yung 10 pesos, i-divide natin sa yung content ng suka, which is 250 ml. So, ang sagot ay 0.04. Next is cooking oil. So, sa cooking oil daw, sa 300 ml ng cooking oil, 25 pesos na mabibili sa market. So, para makuha yung price per unit ng mantika, yung 25 pesos divided by 300 ml, ang sagot ay 0.83. So, okay, malinaw po ba? Again, yung price per unit, kukunin natin yung parang pinaka-cost per unit of a product. At ang formula nito, yung presyo ng mismong ingredients divided by doon sa weight of the original packs. Okay? Para makuha natin yung price per unit. Naintindihan po ba? Okay. Next, yung last column is the total cost. The total cost, ang gagawin po dyan, this is the specified, or I mean the cost ng bawat ingredients. This is our specified amount of price before it will be acquired or done. So, paano kukunin yung total cost? The formula is the price per unit multiplied by the quantity. Okay? So, like for example, sa chicken breast, para makuha natin yung total cost na 60, balik ulit tayo doon sa fifth column, which is the price per unit. Okay? So, yung price per unit is 0.12. So, ang ginamit lang natin na chicken breast base doon sa recipe ng chicken pork adobo ay kalahating kilo or 500 grams. So, we have to multiply the price per unit into the quantity, which is 0.12 times 500. So, the answer is 60. So, ang cost daw ng chicken breast, ang kalahating kilo ng chicken breast ay nagkakahalaga na 60 pesos. What about pork liempo? So, in order to get the cost, again, multiply the price per unit, which is 0.11, doon sa quantity. So, 0.11 times 500 is 55 pesos. Okay? So, garlic. So, ang price per unit niya ay 2 piso. Tapos, ang gagamitin natin na bawang para sa ating chicken pork adobo ay 2 piraso. So, 2 times 2, that is 4. So, 4 pesos yung 2 piraso ng garlic. Bay leaf. So, tingnan niyo yung sa the fifth column. So, 1 peso yung presyo ng bay leaf. In 1 unit, may 1 peso. Pero dahil nga sa recipe natin, 2 piraso ng bay leaf ang gagamitin. So, 1 multiplied by 2, that is 2 pesos. In soy sauce naman, 0.06 ang price per unit niya. Our last topic for lesson 3, and then cooking oil. So, in order to get the cost of cooking oil, so yung price per unit, which is 0.83, multiply dun sa quantity, which is 2 ml. Again, 0.83 times 2. So, ang total cost niya ay 1.66. Okay? Naintindihan po ba? Then, next is raw food cost. So, paano naman yung raw food cost? So, raw food cost is the total expense or sum of all cost. So, ang formula, madali lang din po. You have to add all the costs for the specific recipe. So, yung column 6, from chicken breast, pababa hanggang cooking oil, i-add lang po natin yan lahat. Yung 60, plus 55, plus 4, plus 2, plus 1.2, plus 0.08, plus, 0.8, plus 1.66. So, ang raw food cost niyan ay 124.66 pesos. Same as yung cost per yield niya ay 124.66 pesos. Okay? So, yung yield lang po dyan, yan yung per serving. Ibig sabihin nun, sa isang recipe na ito, maka-come up tayo ng 15 servings. Okay? So, usually minsan, given na po yan. Naintindihan po ba? So, when it comes to food costing, to determine the, what do you call this? The raw food cost, ang gagawin po natin ay get the raw food cost of the ingredients, add up the total cost of all the ingredients used to make a dish. So, yun po yung raw food cost. Yung kaninang sinabi ko na i-add natin lahat ng total cost of all the ingredients na gagamitin para sa chicken pork adobo. Okay? So, once na nakuha na natin yung raw food cost or the RFC, ang susunod na gagawin natin ay number 2, add 10% buffer margin to the raw food cost. So when you say buffer margin, it is the 10% added to the raw food cost to give an allowance to food costs in case of a sudden increase in prices of raw ingredients. Again, the buffer margin po, ang ibig sabihin po mga bata, ito yung 10% na dinadagdag natin doon sa raw food cost natin kanina. Bakit tayo nagdadagdag ng 10%? Kasi may mga instances or may mga times na minsan yung mga ingredients ay hindi natin inaasahan na biglaang tumaas ang presyo. Tulad for example, yung kamatis. Nung nakaraang linggo, ang 1 kilo ng kamatis, for example, ay 10 piso. Tapos, bigla nung pumunta ka sa market, naging 20 pesos na yung kilo ng kamatis. So, yun yung sinasabing sudden increase in prices of raw ingredients. So, hindi ka pa rin magiging affected doon sa gagawin mong presyo ng inyong mga paninda kasi nga, meron kang nilagay na 10% na buffer margin. Naintindihan po ba? So, let's say, for example, yung kaninang pinakita natin. So, again, when you get, yung second na gagawin natin ay we have to add 10% doon sa raw food cost. Which is, ang raw food cost natin kanina, doon sa ating chicken pork adobo, ay 124.66 pesos plus 10%. The 10% of 124.66, pinakita ko lang po dyan, is 12.466. Okay? Sa calculator, pwedeng kung scientific calculator naman yung ginagawa ninyo, pwedeng diretso na 124.66 plus 10%. Pero kung yung mga ordinary calculator, so ang ginagawa ng iba, yung 124.66, imumultiply muna nila sa 0.10, and then kung ano yung kalalabasan nun, idadagdag nila dun sa 124.66. At ang sagot dyan ay 137.126. So, ito na yung pinaka-kabuuan ng raw food cost natin na may kasama na buffer margin. Okay? So, that is 137.126. Next, number 3. Ang ginawa pala dito ay ni-round off na siya. Kasi nga, para hindi na masyado mahirapan. So, instead na may centavos pa, so whole number na. Ginawa niya ng 138. Depende po sa inyo kung mapagbigay po kayo. So, pwede naman na 137. Pero kung gusto nyo medyo may kumita kayo ng kahit papano, so i-round up na po natin siya. Wala nang decimal point. That is 138 pesos. So, number 3, determine your food cost percentage. So, ito po yung table ng food cost percentage. Huwag niyo na pong pansinin yung dito sa multiplier, yung column ng multiplier. Dito tayo sa suggested food cost percentage or the FC percentage. So, for example, kung ang business nyo ay catering, so magdadagdag kayo ng food cost percentage nyo ay 50%. Kung restaurant naman or fast food, basically 45%. Kung fine dining, 40%. Sa mga soft drinks, 35%. And then 20% sa mga liquors, yung mga alak. Okay, number 4, to get the selling price using the food cost percentage. Yung pinakita ko sa inyo kaninang table. So, the formula is selling price is equals to raw food cost divided by the food cost percentage. Okay? So, again, the formula will be the selling price is equals to raw food cost divided by the food cost percentage. So, just the give an example kanina. So, to get the selling price again, so yung raw food cost natin is 138 pesos. If you still remember yung kanina natin na pinakitang figures. So, with that, again, the formula will be selling price is equals to raw food cost divided by the food cost percentage. So, given na ang ating business ay, so, balik tayo dun sa kaninang table. Ang ating business is restaurant. So, that is 45%. So, yung ginamit natin to get the selling price is 138 pesos divided by 45%. And the answer is 306.67. So, pwedeng i-round off nyo na to, tulad ng sabi ko kanina, kung gusto nyo naman na medyo lumaki yung kita nyo, so that will be 307 pesos. So, depende na po yan sa inyo. That is the end of our lesson. I just hope that you have learned something today. For your assignment, please do have an advanced reading on Lesson 4, Interpret Kitchen Layout. And please do prepare yourself to review our previous lesson because we will be having our quiz on our next meeting during Assess to Learn.